Welcome back to BPS Detailing. So in my last video I talked about buying the Maxpeeding Rods coilovers, and I've had a chance to install them and go through pros and cons and adjust them and figure everything out. So currently my car is lowered a total of about 2 inches. The coilovers account for 1.75 inches of that, and then my tires are a little bit smaller as well, so they lower it about another 1/4 inch. 2 inches lower total all the way around, and I think it's perfect. Really, I like the way it looks, and it handles really nice. The coilovers are a little bit stiff though, and that's just what you get when you buy cheap eBay coilovers. I talked more about the price and everything in my last video, but they retail for about $300 to $330. You can find them on eBay or directly at Maxpeeding Rods. One thing that's kind of a bummer for me is since I purchased these, they actually have came out with a nicer model. So these are just really basic. You can find them on their website or on eBay. These are the ones that are going to be priced between $300 and $320 or so dollars. The top of them is just a flat piece of metal up here, right there, that orange part, that's the top of them. So for the top hat and everything, you have to use your stock components or purchase those separately. So there's nothing wrong with using the stock components as long as they're, not falling apart or anything. And they really shouldn't be, because it's mostly just pieces of metal that you're using from the stock parts. But yeah, the new upgraded models they came out with, they're only $30 more, and they come with their own top mounts. So they come with these top mounts and the nuts and bolts right here, and like I said, they have adjustable dampening, whereas these don't. So overall they're going to be a lot easier to install for anyone, but especially if you don't have a lot of experience, because these don't come with any sort of instructions or anything. So with these, it took me a while to figure out how to get the top mount to fit properly on these coilovers, and I also had to take the loaded shocks off of my old my stock shocks and struts, and so yeah, you need either a spring clamp, or you can do kind of a sketchy method where you wrap it in a towel and then unbolt the top thing and the spring kind of goes flying. But yeah, that's your only way to get access to these parts, so that you can actually install these, whereas the new ones, they're just so much better for a few more bucks based on what I've seen. Like I said, I don't have them, I've never actually used them, but they include more stuff, and they're adjustable, so you can make them softer or stiffer. So really, I wouldn't recommend this set that I have. I would definitely try out the one tier higher, but they only have 2 sets available for this year of Matrix, so you can't miss them. So I've only had one issue with these so far, and it was this clamp right here that holds the sway bar end link. It's adjustable, which is nice, because you can raise this up and down to fit with your stock sway bar end link, so you don't need to buy a separate one in order to lower your car. But because of the way this is designed, this can come loose, and that's what happened to me. This came loose, and this part right here spun around, and when I was going around corners, it was actually digging into the inside of my tire. But it would only do that when I went around corners, luckily for me, because I was able to just not take sharp turns. I would just kind of take wider turns, and I got it home and jacked it up and instantly figured out that that was the problem. Then I adjusted them, and I turned it this way. I tightened it really well and put some thread locker on it, so I feel pretty comfortable now that this isn't going anywhere. And I have already put the tire back on, and I've test driven it for about, I'd say, at least 30 miles, and haven't had any more issues. So yeah, that's the only problem I've had with these. So yeah, if you get them, just make sure that this is plenty tight. And yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to it. Again, I would recommend getting the better model, but I'm pretty sure the better model still has this same design. I think the only thing that's different is they include the extra stuff for the top mounts. Yeah, overall, they're not too difficult to install as long as you have the proper tools. One problem you might run into is your nuts and bolts that are, if they're original and have never been changed, and you have over 100,000 miles on your car like most of these do now, you might run into some problems trying to break some of those loose unless you've got good power tools to loosen them, or a breaker bar. I had to use both of those things. I've got a air impact wrench that's got like 750 foot-pounds, and then I also got a breaker bar, so I did have to use that stuff to get these coilovers on. And there's a few good install videos. The one that's the most concise is actually from, I believe it's 1A Auto or AutoZone, and they have a good video on installing not these exact coilovers, but just a new set of shocks and struts. So the only information that's not going to be included in that video is how to put the right top mount and stuff on these to make them fit correctly. But other than that, it shows everything you need to do to install these in a really concise video. So that's the one I would recommend if you haven't done this before. So yeah, overall for the price, I would have to say I highly recommend them. I haven't put that many miles on them yet, but so far I haven't had any issues other than that one thing, which ended up not being a big deal, luckily. And there's a lot of factors to it, I mean, these are newer tires. They're a bit wider, but they do come with a rim guard, and so it's got extra rubber right here, and that's kind of where it was hitting. It was right in this area on the other side of this tire, but you could still read the writing and everything. It just looked like someone took an eraser to it, and there was some rubber just kind of peeled up, but yeah, tire's totally fine, so not a big deal. But yeah, I hope that answers your questions about these. If not, leave them in the comments below, and like and subscribe for more detailing videos and XRS build videos. Cheers!